Would you believe it? 2 simple ingredients and just a few minutes to prepare and you have this deliciously creamy dessert. G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. Who doesn't love chocolate mousse? It's so creamy, so delicious. And this is a spin on it, very simple. It takes 2 ingredients and you won't believe how easy it works. So join me today as I make my version of a 2-ingredient chocolate mousse. Okay, so literally 2 ingredients, our chocolate and our cream. Now, this is just thickened cream, or you can also use whipping cream, same thing. So into a microwave safe bowl, we're going to place in 500 grams or about 500 mils of cooking chocolate. And then to that I've got 600 mils of cream and I'm going to pour in 300 mils of it. So half of our cream goes with the chocolate. Okay, so what I have to do now is place this into the microwave for 30 seconds at a time, give it a good stir each time until it's completely melted, and once it's melted, just place it straight into the fridge. Okay, so as you can see, it's nicely melted and that chocolate and cream is well combined. Look how creamy that is. So again, just place it into the fridge to give it a chance to cool down. So next, into a mixing bowl, we're going to place the other half or the 300 mils of our whipping cream into a mixing bowl. Then simply whisk it up until we get to the soft peak stage. Okay, so with our cream nicely whipped, we're just going to pour in our chocolate ganache that has cooled down in the fridge. And we're simply just going to fold it through until it's combined. Trying to overmix it because you're going to remove a lot of those bubbles. So we want to try and keep it as fluffy as possible. So just take your time and just fold it through. Okay, once we've folded a mixture through, I'm just going to spoon it into some glass cups, but you can use anything that you like. Now just to top it off, I'm just going to grate on just a bit of dark chocolate. And there we have our delicious 2-ingredient chocolate mousse. Now, can it honestly get any simpler than that? It really did take me hardly any time whatsoever, but the finished product is delicious. Now, you don't have to use dark chocolate on top, you can just use some more of the milk chocolate that you already have left over. But no matter what you put on top, either way, I guarantee this 2-ingredient mousse will taste simply delish. Now, this is how incredibly simple this recipe is. You need 2 ingredients. 1, any packet of cake mix. Now I've chosen chocolate, but feel free to use any flavour that you like. And with that, some soda. And again, choose any flavour that you like, but I'm going to mix the raspberry with the chocolate cake. That should be a fantastic combination. Now you only need about 350 mils, which works out to 1 can. So you don't even have to buy the bottle, just buy the can of soft drink. So all we have to do now is into a mixing bowl, I'm going to place in our cake mix, and I'm going to follow that up with our soda. So now all we have to do is mix it through for a couple of minutes until it's well combined and lump free. Okay, lastly I have a greased and lined springform pan. So just simply pour our chocolate cake mixture into the pan. Now when it comes to baking, just simply follow the instructions on the packet. But for this cake, I'm going to put it into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes. Now there we have a delicious 2-ingredient chocolate cake. Now it certainly is a different way of making cake, but it still works and it's effective. Now it's not going to rise as much as a normal cake, but it rises about 80% compared to a normal cake. So if you're making one for the family, I recommend that you make 2 of them. That way you can double stack them just like a normal cake. And the sky's the limit on the combinations of flavors. So choose any flavor soda that you like, any flavored cake. Just have some fun with it. But I'm sure no matter what flavor you choose, it's going to taste simply delish. Now for our first ingredient, we're going to use some frozen bananas. Now I highly recommend that you don't freeze the bananas with the skin on, because it really is difficult to get it off. And what I've done is I've just frozen them in the freezer for about 3 hours. Now as you can see, I'm using a blender for this recipe. Now I highly recommend that you only use a blender that's rated to crush ice, as we are using frozen bananas. So I've just placed about 3 frozen bananas into our blender. And to that I'm going to add about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of Nutella. And of course, if you can't find Nutella, I'll leave a link down below to my video on how to make your own Nutella at home. So all that's left is we're going to pulse it a few times just to help break up the bananas. And we're going to put it on low, and it's going to take about 2 to 3 minutes, and we're just going to blend it until it's nice and smooth. Now would you look at how nice and smooth and creamy that is. Banana and Nutella mix very, very well together. Now there you have it, very delicious, and as always, very simple 2-ingredient Nutella ice cream. Now once you've frozen the bananas, it literally takes just a couple of minutes to prepare, and you not only have a very delicious ice cream recipe, it's also a semi-healthy recipe too. Yes, you still have that chocolate hazelnut spread, but the amount of fat is halved because you don't have all the extra cream and sugar that you find in normal ice cream recipes. And I can tell you, when you add the hazelnut and the banana together, all I can say is, it tastes simply delish. Now this is why this recipe is just so simple and fantastic, because you only need 2 ingredients, the first one being self-raising flour, that's 1 cup, and another equal parts of 1 cup of non-fat yogurt. And give it a good mix until it's all combined. Okay, so once it's all mixed, onto a chopping board, I'm just going to spread some flour just to stop it from sticking. And then our dough ball. And again, just add some more flour as you see fit, just to stop it from sticking. Just going to work that in. And basically what you're going to do is we're going to knead it for about 5 minutes. Okay, basically what kneading does, it just works all the flour and the yogurt together. So you have one lovely base for a pizza. And that's it. How simple is that? 2 ingredients, 5 minutes, and you have a perfectly good pizza base. So all you have to do is shape it out to the pizza size that you desire, add your sauces and toppings, and put it into a preheated oven at say about 200 degrees Celsius for about 10 minutes. And you'll have a very lovely, delicious pizza. And I'm sure once you choose the toppings that you love the most, it's going to taste simply delish. Now we're going to start this recipe off with 4 eggs. Now you want to preferably have these eggs at room temperature because it just works so much better. And with a hand or stand mixer, we're going to whisk these eggs up for about 10 minutes. Because you want these eggs to literally triple in volume. Okay, so as you can see, it is now tripled in volume. Next I have our Nutella. Now I've got about 240 grams worth. And what I've done is I've placed it in the microwave for 30 seconds. Just to warm it up, and it makes it a lot easier to pour. So with the mixer on, we're just going to slowly pour it in and let it all combine. Just don't put it all in at once. Now once mixed, I'm going to pour it into a lined and greased springform pan. Now all we have to do is place this into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Okay, so I've taken it out of the oven and it's been cooling down for a while. So I'm just going to add some icing or powdered sugar on top just for decoration. Now it's never going to be as thick or as fluffy as a normal cake because it is a flourless cake after all. So it is going to flatten out a bit, so it's perfectly normal, but it doesn't take anything away from the taste. So for those people who love cake but can't eat flour and they also love Nutella, I guarantee when you try this, it's going to taste simply delish. Okay, so to start this off with, we're going to use some low-fat ricotta. Now if you can't find ricotta where you're from, I'll check the link down below and I'll show you how to make your own. So what we're going to do now is you can do this in a food processor or a mixer. So whichever way you do it, we want to mix it until it's all broken up and nice and smooth. Okay, now that it's nice and smooth, we're going to pour in our low-fat custard. And as always, the list of ingredients are down in the description. And we're just going to let that mix through for about a minute or so, just until it's well combined. And there we have it, nice and smooth texture. Okay, so next I've got the pulp of 2 mangoes. Just gonna place that right in there. And again, you don't have to do this in a mixer, you can also do it in a blender or a food processor. But what we wanna do is we wanna mix it until it comes up to a nice puree. And you can use canned mangoes if you like, but I highly recommend use fresh ones. Only use canned if you can't find fresh ones in your area or if they're out of season. And there we have it, and look at that, yummy. Okay, so once that's pureed like that, we want to remove about, say, 1/4 of it. Not too much, just enough that we're going to put on top of our cups. Now that we've removed 1/4 of our puree, we're going to add our cheese mixture back into the bowl. And we're not going to mix it too much, we just want to fold it through. We want to be able to see the difference between the cheese mixture and the mango. We don't want it completely mixed. Okay, so I've got one of our cups here, and simply what I'm going to do is just spoon some of our mixture inside the cup till it's about, say, 3/4 of the way full. And once we've got it up to the right level, we're just going to get some of our puree and we're just going to dress up the top of it just with our mango puree. And there we have it, an incredibly simple and easy, yet this is going to be one tasty cheesecake in a mug. So altogether, I'd say I probably spent no more than 5 minutes putting these together. And they are best served chilled, so once you make them, put them back in the fridge for a couple of hours until they're ready to be served. But enough of that, let's try one right now. Oh, I love mango. Oh my. Oh, that is just so creamy. So it's obviously not a firm cheesecake, and that's fine because I wasn't going for that. It's more of a creamy, delicious dessert. It is that type of recipe where you can just slowly eat it and really enjoy those cheese and mango flavors. And this is a dessert where I can truly say they taste simply delish. Now to start this off, I'm going to use 2 ripe bananas. Now just remember, the more ripe the bananas, the more flavor that you're going to get. So all we have to simply do is just mash them up until we get to a nice puree type consistency. Okay, so once we've mashed up the bananas, next we're going to add some oats. Now these are quick oats. I highly recommend quick oats. As opposed to normal oats, it just works so much better. So just give those a good stir until it's completely combined. And that's all you have to do. And that's a very healthy 2-ingredient cookie. But just to add a little bit more flavor, I'm going to add in about 1/4 cup of dark chocolate chips. Just don't forget, dark chocolate is better than white chocolate. Just to keep it a little bit healthier. So this is an optional ingredient. So I'm still calling this a 2-ingredient cookie because you only need the 2 ingredients. But feel free to add extras like this dark chocolate, for example. Okay, so next I've got a baking tray lined with non-stick baking paper. So we're just going to get about a teaspoon at a time and just place it on the baking paper. Okay, so once set, we're going to place this into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. Now I've just taken them out of the oven. I'll let them cool down for about 10 minutes, and I tell you what, these really do smell delicious. I love this recipe for 2 main reasons. The first, it is super quick to prepare. It literally took me no more than 2 minutes. And secondly, it's also very healthy too. But that means nothing unless it tastes fantastic, so let's see. Oh, that is good. It's still slightly warm. It's nice and moist inside, but not too moist. The oats are nice and soft, which is why it's best to use quick oats. But when you add that little bit of extra chocolate in as well, these 2-ingredient cookies taste simply delish. Now to start this off, we're going to use some white chocolate. So into a bowl, we're going to place in 1 cup of white chocolate. And to that, 1/2 cup of sweetened condensed milk. And just a touch of vanilla extract. So now we're going to place this in the microwave and we're going to place it on high for 30 seconds at a time. And we're going to stir it each time and put it in for another 30 seconds until it's completely melted. Okay, so next we're going to add in some color. Now it's up to you how many colors you want to use and what colors you want to use. But for my first one, I'm just going to add some red. And then we just give it a good mix through until it's well combined. Okay, next I just have a tray here that I've just lined with non-stick baking paper. So all we have to do is just pour our fudge mixture into our pan. Now I'm going to place this into the fridge for about half an hour to set, and then we'll get started on the next colour. Okay, so once our fudge is set in the fridge, we're just going to continue the process. So into a bowl, 1 cup of white chocolate, half a cup of sweetened condensed milk, and a dash of vanilla extract. And again, place this in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time, stirring each time until it's ready. And for this next one, I'm going to use some blue, but again, feel free to use any colour that you like. So now I'm just going to pour our blue colour on top of the red. So now I'm just going to place this back in the fridge for another half an hour, and we're just going to continue on until you've done all the colours. Now I've taken it out of the fridge after a few hours, and there we have some lovely rainbow fudge. Now keep in mind, I'm calling this a 2-ingredient fudge for the main reason is when you add spices or flavouring, it's not really counted as an ingredient, it's more of an optional extra. So you really don't need to add the vanilla extract, it just adds a little bit of extra taste, which makes it fantastic. But to make the fudge itself, you literally need 2 ingredients. And of course, to colour it up, just like a beautiful rainbow, just add some colour on the side and it's done. But whether you add the colours or the vanilla extract, either way, this fudge is still going to taste simply delish.